Hey there guys, gals and non-binary pals, and welcome back to my random Ruminations version 2.0. Done with the Hogwarts t-shirt. I'm running out of t-shirts with shit on them, so I'm going to have to come up with something else soon. So over the weekend, I put up this picture on Facebook, and it kind of, for my Facebook, it kind of blew up. I mean, there's 24 people responded to it, plus... Geez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 of them responded either with they feel like this, they have felt like this, or in one case, some really, really, really top quality sarcasm. And what exactly were they replying to? So it's a picture of a girl in a white dress, surrounded by people that are all kind of shadowed out, and it says, "I have a massive fear that nobody actually likes me. Instead, they are all just politely tolerating me, hoping I leave them alone." And it definitely resonates, because I feel like that most of the time. There's a very small number of people that I don't feel like that with. And after 3 days of just grinding my gears on it, I still have no idea why I feel that way, or why anybody else would feel that way. The closest I can come to is perhaps the difference in the way you socialize as an adult versus socialize as a child. So, as a child, you're basically stuck in a walled garden. The only people you know are the people that live immediately around you and the people you go to school with. How did I miss the with? Anyway. So you're in this walled garden. There's only so many people you're going to meet. There's relatively few of them, and you're kind of forced to become friends with them by proximity. There's no other choice, because there's no other options. Very occasionally you might end up knowing someone that you see a bit outside of school that isn't from your school, but by and large you're going to make your friends in school who are going to be your school friends. You're going to make your friends in your neighborhood who are going to be your friends. And that's really it. And it's rather a pressure cooker situation, because you're there, they're there, and there's no getting away from them. It's not like you can up sticks and move unless your parents decide to up stick and move. You know, you're stuck with them. So it's very intense. And again, much like in, say, later education, university and high school, it's still a walled garden by and large. You're going to be in this very intensive environment where you're going to be surrounded by people. You're going to see them basically every day, and because of that, you kind of develop these, to my mind, actually rather unhealthy relationships quite often. Not all of them. I had a few that were not unhealthy, but by and large they, in my experience at least, were unhealthy relationships, because they were so intense and they were so ungrounded, I suppose is the way I would describe it. There was nowhere for anything to flow off of. Everything stayed in there, and it was basically like sitting in a bath and peeing in it. The toxicity, any toxicity at all, had nowhere to go, so it never went anywhere. Your toxicity was your toxicity, and that was it. You were stuck with it. And so that's one aspect. Now, the other aspect is how you may have friends as an adult, and associates and acquaintances and people you only see socializing who aren't actually friends, but you tolerate them and what have you. And I think that's where it comes from. I think, like I said, after 3 days, I still aren't really sure. I still don't really have a solid idea. But here's the thing. As an adult, there's a joke that was doing the rounds on Twitter over the last couple of weeks of friendship as an adult is bumping into someone you really like and saying, "I don't see you often enough," over and over and over again till you both die. There is a large grain of truth in that. Most people are lucky if they see their friends once or twice a week. If you're like me and you're basically stuck at home most of the time, or if you live away from everyone you know, you're lucky if you see them once or twice a year, maybe 3 or 4 times a year if you're very lucky. And that leaves you in a situation, I think, to a degree where you permanently have this stretched out feeling. I'm kind of talking from my own experience, but I think this is probably going to be quite shared an experience where you have this kind of feeling of being stretched out, like you're at the end of a very, very long chain. And you're whiplashing around on that chain. And when you are with these people, because you don't see them often enough, you have this feeling of uncertainty. And yet at the same time, because you don't see them too often, you don't have that build-up of toxicity that never gets evacuated. Because if you don't see each other often, if you don't see each other constantly, you don't have that constant build-up of toxicity. So any toxicity that is there dissipates. It goes away. It vanishes. It drains away. Or because you're not in each other's laps all the time, and yet you still care enough about each other to actually make the effort to go and see one another, you actually work around that toxicity. I think that makes sense. And I think that might be part of it. But the other side of it is, because you're not seeing people constantly and you're no longer having those intense relationships, I think your brain goes through this kind of whiplash. It kind of twists. Because you grow up thinking that intense, almost overwhelming type of friendship you had as a child and as a teen and as someone going to university is normal. That is normality. And that is how it's always supposed to be. But that's not how it always is. It's very rarely like that as an adult. The two people I'm closest to, outside of the people I live with, one is in New Orleans and one is in Dublin. And I very rarely see either of them. And because of that, I know that is more normal than being on top of each other all the time. It's kind of hard to... I'm really struggling to explain what's going on in my head. But I suppose I should really just sum it up in those intense friendships that blow up constantly and become very toxic and become very overwhelming and lead to you never speaking to people again after you can escape them as a child, as a teenager, and as a young adult in, say, university or wherever. They're not normality. They're not normal. They're normal for that age group. It doesn't mean that they're healthy. Actually, I genuinely think they're rather unhealthy. I honestly think it's important that kids socialize beyond the people they live immediately with and the people they go to school with. Be that through scouts or some sport club or whatever. Just something else. Then as an adult, we go to the opposite extreme, where an awful lot of us are so isolated. And even isolated isn't the right word, because we're with Facebook and social media, Skype and all the rest of it. You're not as isolated as you used to be. But at the same time, you are at the end of a very long chain away from your friends. And that's not exactly healthy either. The end result is this situation where you're suddenly in the center between the two. And you don't know what is normal anymore. And because you no longer have this solid sense of normality, you end up with this feeling of, are they just tolerating me? Am I actually wanted here? I think some of that made sense. Like I said, I've been grinding my gears on this for 3 straight days, and I'm still struggling to make sense of it. I think I'm on the right path with this. I'm not certain, but I think I'm on the right path with this. And I'm not entirely sure what the answer is to it, because at the end of the day, as an adult, work is work. Family are really the 2 primary focuses of your life. And then after that, you have friends, sports, hobbies, whatever. But work and family come first. And because work and family come first, I don't think there is an easy answer. I don't think there's an easy answer to breaking that down, except to consciously remind yourself that it's not true. And I don't know, it's a tough one. It's a really tough one. And I'm not 100% sure what the answer is. But if I do come up with an answer, I'll let you know. Anyway, I'll be back again tomorrow with Fallout 3. I'll be back again on Thursday with another vlog. In the meantime, have a great day, be good, and bye for now.